Ahaya, Bahashim Yeshaya, Kadash. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, family.
Shabbat Shalom.
All praise to the Most High. Thank you for another day, another Sabbath. If we could we go into, let's move it around. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 30. You could read about seven each out of that.
Shabbat Shalom, family.
Shabbat Shalom.
Be reading out of the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 13, chapter 30, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither the Lord thy Most High hath driven thee, and shall return unto the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, and all thy heart, and with all thy soul. And then the Lord thy Most High will turn thee captivity, and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nation whither the Lord thy Most High has scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the uttermost part of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. And he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thee, upon thy enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecute thee.
Verse 8. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord, and do all his commandments which I command thee this day. And the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land, for good. For the Lord will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which are written in this book of the law, and if thou turn unto the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, for this commandment which I command thee this day, it is not hidden from thee, neither is it far off. It is not in heaven, that thou shouldest say, who shall go up for us to heaven, and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it. Neither is it beyond the sea, that thou shouldest say, who shall go over the sea for us, and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it. But the word is very nigh unto thee, in thy mouth and in thy heart, that thou mayest do it.
Verse 15. See, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil. And that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply. And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it. But if thine heart turn away, so that thou wilt not hear, but shalt be drawn away and worship other gods, and serve them, I denounce unto you this day that ye shall surely perish, and that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land, whether thou pass it over Jordan to go to possess it. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and cursings. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live, that thou mayest love thy Lord thy God, and that thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave unto him. For he is thy life, and the length of thy days, that thou mayest dwell in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them.
All praises. All right, family. Today's lesson we're going into, for a few weeks, we're going to go into the kings of Judah and Israel. The kings of Judah and Israel. And today we're going to start with King Jehu.
Bring that up.
Let's go to 2 Kings. Matter of fact, no, let's get what you got. Let's get that first.
This is Jehu from Wikipedia. It says meaning Yah is he, Akkadian, and it says that he was the 10th king of the northern kingdom of Israel since Jeroboam.
So write that, write number 10, maybe next to King Jehu. Could write that on your notes.
He was the 10th king of the northern kingdom of Israel since Jeroboam the first. Noted for exterminating the house of Ahab. He was the son of Jehoshaphat, grandson of Nimshi, and possibly great-grandson of Omri, although the latter notion is not supported by the biblical text. But his reign lasted 28 years.
All right, we're going to go to 2 Kings chapter 9.
Bring this second part out later.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to bring this second part out. It says, his proclamation as the king, the reign of Jehu's predecessor, Jehoram, was marked by the battle of Ramoth Gilead against the army of the Armenians. Jehoram was wounded and returned to Jezreel to recover. He was attended by Ahaziah, king of Judah, who was also his nephew, son of his sister Athaliah. Meanwhile, according to the writer of the books of Kings, the prophet Elisha ordered one of his students to go to Ramoth Gilead and separate Jehu, a military commander at the time, from his companions. There he was to anoint Jehu as a king in an inner chamber and explain to him that he was to act as an agent of divine judgment against the house of Ahab.
So, does anyone remember Ahab? Jezebel's husband, right?
The student followed these instructions, and upon completion, he ran away. Jehu initially dismissed the student as a madman, but nonetheless told his companions about his anointing. His companions later enthusiastically blew their trumpets and proclaimed him their king.
All right. Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 9, verse 1. Now, just to give a brief just history. So Jehu was risen up, to basically be judgment against the house of Ahab for him and Jezebel's wickedness. So we're going to start at verse 9. Yeah, we'll start there. So this is after, Jezebel done been pressing the issue on all the prophets and just destroying many people in Israel, right? You had a question?
Just real quick. So when the northern kingdom split out from Judah, they had their own separate kings, but Yeshua's bloodline stayed in Judah or is it?
Yeah, that's because you got King David, Solomon. Yep, that's so all Judah.
This is the northern kingdom's bloodline was separated from Christ's bloodline.
Well, I mean,
they're all Israel.
Yeah, if you want to say it like that, yeah.
Well, I'm just better question, was Jehu from a different tribe than Judah?
No, he's Northern Kingdom. We gonna get it? Alright.
Oh, you said start at verse 9?
Yeah.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 9 and verse 9. And I will make the house of Ahab like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahijah. And the dogs shall eat Jezebel in the portion of Jezreel, and there shall be none to bury her. And he opened the door and fled. Then Jehu came forth to the servants of his Lord, and one said unto him, Is all well? Wherefore came this mad fellow to thee?
No, start 9 and 1.
Okay.
2
Okay.
Kings 9 and
Okay.
1.
You said 9, no. You said verse 9.
No.
Chapter 9,
Chapter 9,
verse 1. The book of 2 Kings, chapter 9 and verse 1. And Elisha the prophet called one of the children of the prophets and said unto him, Gird up thy loins, and take this box of oil in thine hand, and go to Ramoth Gilead. And when thou comest thither, look out there Jehu the son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nimshi, and go in and make him arise up from among his brethren, and carry him to an inner chamber. Then take the box of oil and pour it on his head, and say, Thus saith the Lord, I have anointed thee king over Israel. Then open the door and flee and tarry not. So the young man, even the young man, the prophet, went to Ramoth Gilead. And when he came, behold, the captains of the host were sitting. And he said, I have an errand to thee, O captain. And Jehu said unto him, which of all of us? Jehu said, unto which all of us? And he said, to thee, O captain. And he arose and went into the house, and he poured the oil on his head, and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I have anointed thee king over the people of the Lord, even over Israel. And thou shalt smite the house of Ahab thy master, that I may avenge the blood of my servants the prophets, and the blood of all the servants of the Lord at the hand of Jezebel. For the whole house of Ahab shall perish.
What does that mean, the whole house of Ahab shall perish? Let's keep it going.
For the whole house of Ahab shall perish, and I will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel. And I will make the house of Ahab like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha the son of Ahijah. And the dogs shall eat Jezebel in the portion of Jezreel, and there shall be none to bury her. And he opened the door and fled. Then Jehu came forth to the servants of his Lord, and one said unto him, Is all well? Wherefore came this mad fellow to thee? And he said unto them, Ye know the man and his communication. And they said, It is false. Tell us now. And he said, Thus and thus spake he to me, saying, Thus saith the Lord, I have anointed thee king over Israel. Then they hasted and took every man his garment and put it under him on the top of the stairs, and blew with trumpets, saying, Jehu is king.
Jehu is king.
So Jehu, the son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nimshi, conspired against Joram. Now Joram had kept Ramoth Gilead, he and all Israel, because of Ahaziel, the king of Syria. But King Joram was returned to be healed in Jezreel of the wounds which the Syrians had given him, when he fought with Ahaziel, king of Syria. And Jehu said, If it be your minds, then let none go forth nor escape out of the city to go tell it in Jezreel. So Jehu rode in a chariot and went to Jezreel, for Joram lay there, and Ahaziah, king of Judah.
So there's the answer to your question right there. Separation, right?
Sir.
Keep it going.
And Ahaziah, king of Judah, was come down to see Joram. And there stood a watchman on the tower in Jezreel. He spied the company of Jehu as he came, and said, I see a company. And Joram said, Take a horseman and send to meet them, and let him say, Is it peace? So there went one horse back to meet him, and said, Thus saith the king, is it peace? And Jehu said, What hast thou to do with peace? Turn thee behind me. And the watchman told, saying, The messenger came to them, but he cometh not again. Then he sent out a second on horseback, which came to them and said, Thus saith the king, is it peace? And Jehu answered, What hast thou to do with peace? Turn thee behind me. And the watchman told, saying, He came even unto them, and cometh not again. And the driving is like the driving of Jehu, the son of Nimshi, for he driveth furiously. And Joram said, Make ready, and his chariot was made ready. And Joram, king of Israel, and Ahaziah, king of Judah, went out, each in his chariot, and they went out against Jehu, and met him in the portion of Naboth the Jezreelite. And it came to pass, when Joram saw Jehu, that he said, Is it peace, Jehu? It's like it. Mine got a glitch right there. It's like it. And he said, It's like it. And he answered, What peace? So long as the whoredoms of thy mother Jezebel and her witchcrafts are so many. And Joram turned his hands and fled and said to Ahaziah, There is treachery, O Ahaziah. And Jehu drew a bow with his full strength and smote Jehoram between his arms, and the arrow went out at his heart, and he sunk down in his chariot. Then said Jehu to Bidkar, his captain, Take up and cast him in the portion of the field of Naboth the Jezreelite. For remember how that when I and thou rode together after Ahab his father, the Lord laid this burden upon him. Surely I have seen yesterday the blood of Naboth and the blood of his sons, saith the Lord. And I will requite thee in this plat, saith the Lord. Now therefore take and cast him into the plat of the ground according to the word of the Lord. But when Ahaziah, the king of Judah, saw this, he fled by the way of the garden house. And Jehu followed after him and said, Smite him also in the chariot. And they did so at the going up to Gur, which is by Ableam. And he fled to Megiddo and died there.
Underline that Megiddo, Armageddon, right? That place. We did a lesson, how many months ago was that? A couple months ago. All right. Keep going.
Verse 28. And his servants carried him in a chariot to Jerusalem, and buried him in his sepulchre with his fathers in the city of David. And in the 11th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, began Ahaziah to reign over Judah. And when Jehu was come to Jezreel, Jezebel heard of it, and she painted her face and tired her head, and looked out at a window.
She put that makeup on.
I was just gonna say that.
And as Jehu entered in at the gate, she said, Had Zimri, and she said, Had Zimri peace, who slew his master? And he lifted up his face to the window and said, Who is on my side? Who? And there looked out to him 2 or 3 eunuchs. And he said, Throw her down. So they threw her down, and some of her blood was sprinkled on the wall and on the horse. And he trode her underfoot. And when he was come in, he did eat and drink, and said, Go, see now this cursed woman, and bury her, for she is a king's daughter.
Look, give her a proper burial. She is a king's daughter, even through all her wickedness, right? Let's keep it going.
Verse 35. And they went to bury her, but they found no more of her than the skull and the feet and the palms of her hands. Wherefore they came again and told him, and he said, This is the word of the Lord, which he spake by his servant Elijah the Tishbite, saying, And the portion of Jezreel shall the dogs eat the flesh of Jezebel, and the carcass of Jezebel shall be as dung upon the face of the field in the portion of Jezreel, so that they shall not say, This is Jezebel.
So you see, this is all the workings of the Most High. Kind of like today, you see things go from here and go this way, and his plan and the prophecy still coming to pass. There is no planning against the Most High like the book of Psalms talks about. And so what you're going to see is this is just the Most High is doing through and through to basically tear down what Ahab was doing, the idols, everything that was against the Most High and what he set up for his people, right? Let's go into chapter 10. Let's start at verse 1.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 10 and verse 1. And Ahab had 70 sons in Samaria, and Jehu wrote letters and sent to Samaria unto the rulers of Jezreel, to the elders, and to them that brought up Ahab's children, saying, Now as soon as this letter cometh to you, seeing your master's sons are with you, and there are with you chariots and horses, and fenced cities also, and armor, look even out the best and meetest of your master's sons, and set him on his father's throne, and fight for your master's house. But they were exceedingly afraid, and said, Behold, 2 kings stood not before him. Now, Slack, how then shall we stand? And he that was over the house, and he that was over the city, the elders also, and the bringers up of the children, sent to Jehu, saying, We are thy servants, and will do all that thou shalt bid us, and we will not make any king. Do thou that which is good in thine eyes. Then he wrote a letter the second time to them, saying, If ye be mine, and if ye will hearken unto my voice, take ye the heads of the men of your master's sons, and come to me to Jezreel by tomorrow this time. Now the king's sons being 70 persons, were with the great men of the city, which brought them up. And it came to pass, when the letter came to them, that they took the king's sons and slew 70 persons, and put their heads in baskets, and sent them to Jezreel. And there came a messenger and told him, saying, They have brought the heads of the king's sons. And he said, Lay ye them in 2 heaps at the entering in of the gate until the morning.
Ain't that somehow they do that in all the old movies? They're always bringing the heads of kings and all that, right? Keep it going.
And it came to pass in the morning that he went out and stood and said to all the people, Ye be righteous. Behold, I conspired against my master and slew him. But who slew all these? Know now that there shall fall unto the earth nothing of the word of the Lord, which the Lord spake concerning the house of Ahab. For the Lord hath done that which he spake by his servant Elijah. So Jehu slew all that remained of the house of Ahab in Jezreel, and all his great men, and his kings and his kinsfolks, and his priests, until he left him none remaining. And he arose and departed and came to Samaria, and as he was at the shearing house in the way, Jehu met with the brethren of Ahaziah king of Judah, and said, Who are ye? And they answered, We are the brethren of Ahaziah, and we go down to salute the children of the king and the children of the queen. And he said, Take them alive. And they took them alive and slew them at the pit of the shearing house, even 42 men. Neither left he any of them. Verse 15. And when he was departed, he lighted on Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, coming to meet him, and he saluted him and said to him, Is thine heart right? As my heart is with thy heart. And Jehonadab answered, It is. If it be, give me thine hand. And he gave him his hand, and he took him up to him into a chariot. And he said, Come with me, and see my zeal for the Lord. So they made him ride in his chariot. And when he came to Samaria, he slew all that remained unto Ahab in Samaria, till he had destroyed him according to the saying of the Lord, which he spake by Elijah. And Jehu gathered all the people together and said unto them, Ahab served Baal a little, but Jehu shall serve him much. Now therefore call unto me all the prophets of Baal, and his servants and his priests. Let none be wanting, for I have a great sacrifice to do to Baal.
Okay, so he's trying to see, let's see who else want to serve Baal, right? Who else don't want to serve the Lord? Who want to go against the Lord? Keep it going.
Whosoever shall be wanting, he shall not live. But Jehu did it in subtlety, to the intent that he might destroy the worshipers of Baal.
Mm-hmm.
And Jehu said, proclaim a solemn assembly for Baal. And they proclaimed it. And Jehu sent through all Israel, and all the worshipers of Baal came.
Coming out the woodworks.
So that there was not a man left that came not. And they came into the house of Baal. And the house of Baal was full from one end to another. And he said unto him that was over the vestry, bring forth vestments for all the worshipers of Baal. And he brought them forth vestments. And Jehu went, and Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, into the house of Baal, and said unto the worshipers of Baal, search and look, that there be here with you none of the servants of the Lord, but the worshipers of Baal only. And when they went into to offer sacrifices and burnt offerings, Jehu appointed 80 men without, and said, if any of the men whom I have brought into your hands escape, he that letteth him go, his life shall be for the life of him.
So he wasn't playing. Look, none of these people better escape that serving Baal. Keep it going.
And it came to pass, as soon as he had made an end of offering the burnt offerings, that Jehu said to the guard and to the captains, go in and slay them, let none come forth. And they smote them with the edge of the sword, and the guard and the captains cast them out, and went to the city of the house of Baal. And they brought forth the images out of the house of Baal and burned them. And they brake down the image of Baal and brake down the house of Baal and made it a draught house unto this day. Thus Jehu destroyed Baal out of Israel. Howbeit, from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, Jehu departed not from after them, to wit, the golden calves that were in Bethel and that were in Dan.
So look, he just wanted to just slaughter something. He was taking glory in that, right? Finish reading.
And the Lord said unto Jehu, because thou hast done well in executing that which is right in mine eyes, and hast done unto the house of Ahab according to all that was in mine heart, thy children of the 4th generation shall sit on the throne of Israel. But Jehu took no heed to walk in the law of the Lord.
He did what?
Jehu took no heed to walk in the law of the Lord.
So the law wasn't pleasant to him. He did all that. He was just trying to kill something. Right? Keep it going.
With all his heart. For he departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, which made Israel to sin. In those days the Lord began to cut Israel short. And Hazael smote them and all the coast of Israel, from Jordan's eastward all the land of Gilead, the Gadites and the Reubenites and the Manassites, from Auror, which is by the river of Arnon, even Gilead to Bashan. Now the rest of the acts of Jehu and all that he did and all his might, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jehu slept with his fathers, and they buried him in Samaria. And Jehoazaz, his son, reigned in his stead. And the time that Jehu reigned over Israel in Samaria was 28 years.
So taking delight in the law of the Lord. Let's go to Proverbs 3 and 6. Yes, sir.
Oh, they said he had 70 sons. They mean like grandsons? Sons?
Brother, that was about 20 minutes ago, brother. You stuck on that, brother. No, I'm messing with you. Yeah, him and Solomon had plenty. That woke your game up, huh? Let's go to Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs 3 and 6.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 3 and verse 6. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths.
In all thy ways acknowledge him. So, I mean, was he really acknowledging the Most High, or was he just taking pleasure? Kind of like what you see the Pharisees do. You see some of our people do today. It's all about, let's just say, fleshly desire, because it could be so many things, right? Vainglory, matter of fact, get that, go Galatians 5. The vainglory, the just being Lord over somebody, just all the things that come when you're not really doing it for the will of the Lord. Let's get 5 and 26 real quick in Galatians.
The book of Galatians, chapter 5 and verse 26. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another.
And who else did that? Let's go to Numbers chapter 20. Let's start at verse 9. Numbers 20 and 9.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 20, verse 9. And Moses took the rod from before the Lord as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock. And he said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock?
Not acknowledging the Most High, taking the credit, right? And it just seems like you could be doing good. You could be doing good for, you got a lot of works, and then just the Most High is really against that, tearing people up, that's not giving him his glory and taking the credit, right? Let's keep it going.
Verse 11. And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice, and the water came out abundantly. And the congregation drank, and their beasts also. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, Because ye believed me not to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. This is the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel strove with the Lord, and he was sanctified in them.
Let's get this. Isaiah chapter 42. So giving him the credit, right? Let's get 42 in verse. Let's start at verse 6.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 42 and verse 6. I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles, to open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. I am the Lord, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images.
Read verse 8 again.
I am the Most High.
He's the Most High power.
That is my name.
That is his name.
And my glory will I not give to another.
So that's the problem that we see that was going on with Jehu. Just trying to take it upon himself, not caring about the law. Just, okay, you picked me, so this, okay. So we got to be mindful that we doing the things that we do according to thus saith the Lord, and that we walking in his ways, in his law, right? Because he knows the hearts of men. So with that, family, that concludes the lesson on you could write the kings of Israel and Judah. And this one is going to be on King Jehu. So you could start knowing the kings in the northern and southern kingdom. Any more questions? Nope. All right, let's pray out.